Hi everyone, my name is Summer Nilsson and I am the founder of Loodor. Loodor publishes, produces, and distributes books, curriculum, educational materials, live videos and video series, and school tour programs, all designed to instill self-worth, support mental well-being, and offset the effects of social media and cyberbullying. As the author of the Loodor Tales Series and the creator of the Who Are You school tour program, it is my great honor to be here today speaking with Commissioner Miller. Here at his office, this is Sid Miller, and we are in Austin, Texas, and I must say, thank you so much for the opportunity to be here, and what an office this is.
Well, thank you for having me on today, and I can't wait till we talk about Loodor and what that means and explain that to everybody, because it's a great program that I've certainly supported and have supported almost from the inception of it.
Oh, you have,
yeah,
absolutely.
So it's been good.
It's been terrific, and I know to that point we share a mission to make a difference for today's youth and for communities across Texas. And before we get into that and the new programs that we're going to introduce with regard to schools and helping students and parents and communities, I wanted to spend a little bit of time talking about you and your background. Okay. As you know, I too am a small town gal from East Texas. I'm from Dangerfield. We have 2,600 people and a Sonic and 3 stoplights, and it certainly shaped my values and who I am and my foundation. And we are certainly known for, in the past, steel manufacturing and farming and ranching. But as an 8th generation Texan, is that correct?
That's correct.
I would love to hear about you and your family and legacy in farming and all of that.
Well, I didn't grow up in a metropolis like Dangerfield. It wasn't quite that big a town. There's only 2,000 people in my hometown and 2 stoplights.
Oh, there you go.
So we're a little behind, but we did. That's where I went to school. It's in Comanche County, which is kind of West Texas, west of Fort Worth, but not as far as Abilene, if that makes any sense. Mm-hmm. I live and work and raise my family in Stephenville, where I still make my living off the land. I raise cattle and horses and various crops there. Okay. So I'm a graduate of Tarleton State University, which is also located in Stephenville. So I have a degree in vocational agriculture, and what that means, I'm trained as an ag teacher, a vocational teacher. So when I left college, I became an ag teacher and taught for 5 years. And I learned real quick that the greatest natural resource we have in Texas is not oil and gas. Might surprise somebody. But being an FFA advisor and 4-H leader, I realized real quick our greatest natural resource we have is our youth. So that's why, as being a school teacher, that I was so quickly connected to your program here.
Well, thank you.
And after I left the teaching profession, I ran for school board, and so I was still connected, to education of our children. And I would go home at night and sleep with the superintendent. My wife's the superintendent, so
that's perfect.
Yeah, I was, always kind of connected to education in some way, either directly or indirectly. Okay. And of course, agriculture has been my life, my family's life for generations. I've done I've raised just about every crop that you can grow in Texas, and certainly every piece of livestock, from poultry to hogs and chickens and cows and horses and donkeys and you name it. Yeah. I've owned it or grown it or marketed it. So. And
I know you are also a rodeo champion.
Well, I have a kind of a unique niche operation, kind of like your operation here. I breed, raise, train, break, and show roping horses. So off of my place and my breeding program, I have off my ranch have come 26 world champion horses, and many PRCA professional cowboys ride my horses. I've had the PRCA Horse of the Year twice. I've won the world, like I said, 26 times on different horses that I've raised. Some of them multiple, not 26 different horses, but 26 world champions on several horses won more than one championship. Okay. But I have a horse that's in the Texas Rodeo Hall of Fame, And
Wow.
me personally, I was just inducted into the Rodeo Heritage Hall of Fame. So
Congratulations.
Thank you. That's a side of me that I don't talk about a lot, and most people don't know about me. They think of me as as a government official or a farmer or rancher.
Well, to that end, can you tell me how you got into politics? And if there was a moment that changed your life and, how that occurred?
It was never in my long-range business plan, to be
Right.
honest with you. I was serving in Stephenville on the local school board. I ran for that and was elected and was serving my first term. And Santa Fe School District got sued by the ACLU to stop student-led prayer at football games. And that just flew all over me because I knew that was going against our founding fathers, and what they believed. And this nation was, a Christian nation founded on Judeo-Christian values. And I just got up and said, well, we're not stopping. They can just sue us. I don't care. So I charged the hill, and I looked back. No one's behind me.
Wow.
So I was out there so I helped a town hall meeting trying to get the community behind me.
Okay.
And I ran across this guy named David Barton. He has a Christian company called Wall Builders, and he's the nation's leading expert on our founding fathers. Has more of the founding fathers documents than any museum in the United States. Is often called to Washington D.C. to testify on the Constitution.
Okay.
So and he just lives at Loodor, which is only like 45 minutes. I'd never met him. So I invited him to come to my town hall and speak about our founding fathers and, about this situation about not being able to pray at football. And you got to realize, during this time, it was the late 1990s, and Stephenville was a 4A powerhouse in football.
Yeah.
We had won 4 state championships in a row. So
Listen, you're talking about a
Yeah.
3A champion in the 80s out in Dangerfield, so I understand.
Stephenville has 15,000 people, and the stand holds 15,000, and it would be full.
Right.
So I mean,
Right.
it would. So football was a big deal Friday nights. So he came and he walked into the meeting room and walked to me and poked me in the chest like that. He said, "You're Sid Miller." I said, "Yes, sir, I am." He said, "I'm David Barton. I'm the vice chairman of the Republican Party of Texas, and we want you to run for the state house." "What? I think you got the wrong guy." I said, I've never even thought about doing that. I said, "I don't think I'd fit in." He said, "What do you mean you won't fit in?" I said, "Well, half of those people down there are lawyers, and the other half are rich, and I'm not either one."
I'm out.
So anyway, it was a great meeting. So we got home that night, and I said, "Can you believe that they want me to run for the state legislature?" And my wife said, "Oh my God, I've known ever since I met you, you were supposed to do something like this. I just didn't know
Really?
what it was." I said, "You too?" "My gosh." I said, "No, I got a business plan. I got a business to pay for. I got kids at home." I said, "I don't think this is for me. I'm just a country hayseed, So anyway, we prayed about it, and I didn't know, but it was an impossible seat to win because it was a solid Democrat district. And of course, I was running as a conservative. And Republican hadn't held that seat since Reconstruction, since the Civil War. So it was an uphill battle. So I was what you call a third-tier candidate. And there's only 3 tiers. So I was in the no chance category. But my makeup is, I don't lose. I'll do whatever it takes to win. Ethically do whatever it takes to win. And I said, "You just tell me what I have to do to win." And so I became a full-time candidate. So my wife and I knocked on 12,000 doors.
Did you really?
Yeah, physically went up, introduced myself, and asked for people's vote. So come election day, we won. We beat the incumbent Democrat. And so that was in the year 2000. I served 12 years in the legislature, got out in 2013, thought I was done, told everybody I'd never ever run for office again. I gave my time and my effort, and my business suffered, my family suffered for it, and I was going back, take care of my family and make some money and take care of my business. And I got recruited again to run for ag commissioner.
Okay.
And so kind of the same story again. I didn't want to do it and felt led to do it. So if I'm in, I'm all in.
Right.
Kind of a funny story on that, and we may be taking too much time on this, but people have been running for 4 or 5 months. It was really late. It was September, and everybody started running in May and June. And everybody said, "You run, run." There was rumors that I was going to run. I'd tell them no, and so I finally decided to run. And I thought, that was the year all the offices turned over in Texas. The governors, Perry ran for president, and there was 4 or 5 people running for lieutenant governor, and there's 5 people running for ag commissioner, and so there was 40-something people running statewide in the Republican primary, at the state level. Mm-hmm. And so they had sucked all the money out of Texas. There was nothing, everybody had just been hit up multiple times. I thought, well, it's going to be real hard for me to raise the money, so I've got to do something to get earned media, and that means free media.
Yes, it does.
So I said, I've got to have a campaign treasurer that'll get me right in the headlines. And I thought and couldn't think of anybody, and I thought, I know the guy. He's a hunting buddy of mine that we worked on the helicopter hog hunting bill that I passed. And so I called him up, and he said, yeah, I'm in. So in September, I announced that I was running for ag commissioner, and my campaign treasurer was Ted Nugent. So that's the reaction I was going for.
That's the one you got.
That's exactly what I was going for. And so we went from unknown, dead last, to boom, right to the front.
Yeah,
and,
as you would.
And pretty much stayed there.
Okay.
And I already knew how to campaign. A lot of the other guys didn't. I mean, they were all pretty novices. Matter of fact, they were all novices at it.
Okay.
Except one. One was a former state representative, who actually I got in a runoff with. And we obviously won the runoff in the general election. So I've been elected 3 times. I'm running for my 4th term.
There you go.
That's it.
Well, I know that throughout the course of this, you have prioritized school eating healthy, and you have a program dedicated to that, as well as mental well-being, which I know we're going to get into here today. If you want to take a moment to talk about why your Farm Fresh Fridays program is important to you, and how that might have facilitated all the programs that came as a result. Well,
I took a real interest in everything at the ag department, but particularly the 800-pound gorilla is the food nutrition.
Right.
So I found out real quick that I'm responsible for 5 million school meals every day. Every day, 5 million meals.
Unbelievable.
So, and it's a $7 billion agency, and most of that's food nutrition. And so I started just going to everybody. The previous commissioner quit about 3 months before his term ended, and all of his executive staff quit, found other jobs. So when I got here, there was no executives. There was no guidance. There was no. Mm-hmm. They don't send you to ag commissioner school to learn.
Here it is.
They just say, "Here's the key. Good luck."
Yeah.
$7 billion agency. Yeah. Good luck. So I'm trying to get my head around this bureaucracy, and I've never been a bureaucrat in my life. Mm-hmm. But I've been a pretty successful entrepreneur, so I know how to get things running. So I would go to school cafeterias to figure out this nutrition program, try to figure out how to feed these 5 million meals every day.
Sure.
And so I would ask them, I said, well, how much local product are y'all serving our children? They said, well, none. I said, well, what do you mean none? They said, well, we don't know any farmers. We don't have time to go to the farmer's market. It's just easier for us to order it from Benny Keith or Cisco's or somebody, and they, it's ultra processed, and they flash freeze it, and we get it and thaw it out and put it on that plastic tray. I said, aha, that's why you have healthy trash cans instead of healthy kids, because they're not eating it, and that's taxpayer dollars being thrown in the trash.
Certainly.
So and what really set me off, Dripping Springs hired a Yankee superintendent, and he decided it would be a good thing to have meatless Mondays. No. In Texas, you got to be kidding me. We lead the nation in cattle production, twice as many as the next state, and he wants to cut out meat. And we're joking, but honestly, the sad part about it, the only quality protein that some of these kids get is at school.
Right.
And you want to cut that out.
Right.
So that inspired me to come up with a plan. And so my plan was no mandates, because I hate mandates. Being a school teacher and a school board member and sleeping with the superintendent, I hated those unfunded mandates. So I decided that I would challenge the schools to at least on Friday, Farm Fresh Fridays, serve something local, just anything local. But when you do, you have to have Meet the Farmer Friday. And whatever farmer you buy that from, bring him to school and tell him how that milk got in the carton or that hamburger got on the bun. Where did it, and we would send out gardening kits. We partnered with Scott's, which is a fertilizer company, and they would furnish us seed kits, and we'd send these gardening kits out to the young grades. They would raise some of their own vegetables, get a little dirt under their fingernails, and kind of, teach them where their food comes from.
Sure.
And we had many other programs and help the cafeterias modernize and show them how to make the cafeteria fun and exciting. So that was about 10 years ago. 0 local products. Today, our Texas schools are serving over $300 million worth of local products to our children.
That's incredible.
And
it really is.
It's never flash frozen. It's not ultra processed. No dyes, no added salt, no preservatives, cooked from scratch. And guess what happens to it? They eat it. Yeah, and it doesn't go in the trash. So kids are getting fed better. Taxpayers' money's not going in the trash. Local farmers have a new market that's more lucrative. Taxpayers are saving more money because they're cutting out the middleman, and not only is it better food, but usually it's cheaper than buying it from a distributor. So we have 4 wins where we had none before.
And so that's amazing. Now, how did mental well-being, because I know if you're feeding the child and now you're also feeding their mental well-being and their head, right? So where did that become a priority in the process of developing your agri-stress helpline and all of this other stuff that you do?
So one of the functions we perform here at this huge agency is we house the Office of Rural Health Care. So we help provide health care in 191 rural counties. So we do that. We do as good a job as we can. We've got a lot of challenges. Rural Texas has the highest uninsured rate, most elderly population, the 2 most accident-prone occupations, oil field work and farming. So, and the lowest reimbursement rates is rural hospitals, because none of them are trauma care. They don't get the dollars that come down with that. Most of them run on Medicare, Medicaid dollars, which is very low reimbursements. So it's always a challenge. But we met that challenge, but we could never really crack the mental health end of it. And it really, really has always bothered me, and I never could figure out how to address it, that the 2 highest rates of suicide in our nation are our veterans and our farmers. Mm-hmm. So we have a national suicide hotline. It's 988 if anybody needs to call it. But they really can't talk farmer language. They don't know how to help farmers. Farmers are a different breed. You can't. For number one, these people are all located in urban areas, and they don't know how to speak to a country boy or how to get them help.
Right.
So if you call that and you're from Dangerfield, you may get an operator in New York or India or somewhere, and you just don't feel a connection. So we started our own, and it's called, I don't like the term suicide. It's hard enough. Farmers are really independent and don't like charity, and a lot of them are introverts, and they don't socialize, and they're very proud and self-sustaining, and it's hard enough to get them to call.
Right.
Without having to call a suicide hotline.
Right.
So ours is called the agri-stress helpline, and we reach out to them in many ways. The most successful way is getting a child or a grandchild to ask them to call, and that's how you crack that nut. But anyway, so we set it up. My operators are highly trained, many hours of training how to help agri people, mm-hmm. and so they can show them how to get help at the USDA, government indemnity, pay for cows that were burned up in the fire or lost in the hurricane, or replace property that was washed out in the hill country floods, or things like that, or get a long-term low-interest loan or grants, or sign them up. The multiple programs we'll help them with. Or they'll say, well, did you know that the Texas Department of Agriculture has programs? They have a STAR program. They have a grant to help you put back your barbed wire and your fences that was washed out in the flood, or rebuild the barns, or bury dead cattle that were killed, or
right.
stuff like that. So we've had that up and running for 3 years, And in 3 years, we've documented, and it's hard to document, so the numbers are probably higher than we've actually been able to document. But we know for sure that we've saved 350 lives. So between that mental health aspect, my background in education, working with kids in mental health in the Office of Rural Health Care, I met you.
Yes.
And so there's another problem we have is cyberbullying. And it gets some attention in the urban areas, but there was really nothing for rural Texas. No one had tackled that monster.
They had not.
Nothing.
They had not.
And then I think God sent me you.
I believe that. I do. And honestly, like, I will take a moment here, with the Loodor Tales Series. This is I've completed the 4th book now that will come out next year, but this is, as you know, this is an ongoing book series that's told through the eyes of animals, and it is really designed to address those complex topics and through character symbolism engage students so that we can have those bigger discussions and reinforce mental health and talk about the cyberbullying and the social media and the real challenges that they're facing. And for me, it really started, I asked you if there was a moment that changed your life. For me, I went for a walk many years ago with a then 10-year-old girl. And she had been exposed on phones to social media early on, and as a result of that, wondered if she was enough, and really, had the self-esteem issues and whatever else. And that was the moment in my life that I thought that was a God wink, and it changed the trajectory. I'd been in publishing and marketing and media and content writing for 2 decades. But it truly felt like in that moment, God was telling me, this is the compendium of your career. This is what I gave you, that skill set, so that you could make a difference for kids. Coming from a small town, no child should wonder if they're enough, but then when you add in this modern world, where on their phones and cyberbullying and everything else, that they're constantly being told all of these negative things, and it's constantly in their ear, and it's the chatter that they can't escape. For me, I launched this book series, and then I went, as you know, boots on ground to schools in rural Texas. And in East Texas is where I started out in Region 8. But I was going to schools, and I was introducing the series and sitting down with superintendents and students and having roundtable discussions with the students. And what has always blown my mind is how forthcoming they are and how much they want to talk about this and talk about the challenges that they're having, and the fact that the comments coming through are telling them to self-harm, and they wanted a support line, which drove me to Austin to sit down with you. You have been an avid supporter of this book series, and then enabled me to integrate the helpline into those communities so that we could reach parents and students.
It was actually a mutual friend of ours that got us together.
Yes,
named George Hamilton.
Yes, it was.
Not the guy that's tanned too much.
No,
not that George
that one.
but a wonderful gentleman.
Absolutely.
From Bandera.
From those years of conversations with students, what I am really, really proud to talk to you about today is this curriculum. Before I move on, I know these characters in these books that we talked, that we introduced through these, through the series. We have Scout the Golden Retriever, and Scout was inspired by the Texas Task Force dogs that landed at Ground Zero in the days following 9/11. We have Lane the Labrador, who has magical ears that can hear when other animals need help. That was really inspired by our need to hear when these kids and farmers and communities need help. And we have Gray the Kitten, who has a magical voice. And that was really inspired to reinforce the power of words and connection, in spite of the fact that people don't feel as connected because they're on their screens. So I'm going to start here and open up a box. What's in the box? And we'll start. There are a few programs that I'm going to share with you. I'm so excited to do so. But with the Loodor Learns Curriculum, as I've said, this is really the result of years of having conversations and understanding that we needed a mechanism capable of breaking down these books and the character symbolism and providing classroom guides teacher workbooks, student worksheets, teacher video tutorials. We've really developed, with the book series and this curriculum, a fully comprehensive program that is also coded to TEKS, and so we've got all of the support mechanisms and all of the testing mechanisms built in. We worked with curriculum developers to do this, but I've personally written the books, I've written the curriculum, I've built this from the ground up, and I'm proud to say that because you are an entrepreneur and you know the work that goes into it when you're standing on the top of the hill by yourself saying, no, this is a valid idea and this is a real problem that we have and we have to address. So with that said, this is the curriculum and the classroom guide. We have teacher books that literally walk you through from the pines to the strays to the trade. And so each of these books, it's a 3-book series that's come out thus far. And so each of these teacher workbooks is designed to speak specifically to one of the books. And really provide every aspect of character symbolism, of chapter breakouts, as well as, and this is super important, all of the reading and the writing, the in-depth analyses, optional extended response. These are 50-page books, and then the corresponding video tutorials that truly break down every aspect that a teacher would need to utilize this as a reading, writing, and program that's designed to instill confidence, character, values, integrity, and the things, and offset the effects of social media and cyberbullying in today's world. So
this is great.
It's incredible, and it would not have been possible, quite frankly, without your support.
Oh, you'd have made it without me.
I wouldn't.
It is a good partnership. I'll say that.
And the ongoing support that you provide in enabling me to go out to schools and to tour and to really approach them and get on a stage to General Assemblies and answer the questions that they have. That just brings it to life in a total program. Loodor is part of the Go Texan program.
Yes.
And so truly in every aspect,
it's a Texas company.
It is.
I mean, it is.
100%.
For Texans too.
For Texan, by Texan, 100% manufactured in Texas, and it's just been amazing to have you on board in helping to facilitate and grow this into something that's truly helping kids and rural communities. This has really grown, as I've said, into a total literacy program designed to also ensure that we are answering and responding to the very real challenges and needs of mental well-being. And offsetting the effects of cyberbullying, to your point, which is the main issue that we are having with today's youth.
This could be public schools, it could be private schools.
And
charter schools, Christian schools.
Yes, sir.
Folks, if you're a school teacher or you're involved in teaching students in any way, whether it be private school, religious school, any other type of school, you really ought to look into this. This is a problem. Child suicide, teen suicide, almost always somehow related to social media, cyberbullying, things like that. This counteracts that.
Thank you very much. I so appreciate that, and like I said, your support has meant all the difference in seeing this through.
Without good mental health, they can't learn anything else. I mean, that's a deal killer with me. We got to get them right in the mind before they can learn.
Well, thank you, Commissioner, and thank you very much for welcoming us into your office. And
anytime.
Appreciate that.
God bless you for what you're doing.
Thank you.
Thank you.